You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the March 22nd, 2023 meeting of the LaPorte County Redevelopment Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to call the Redevelopment Commission meeting to order here for Wednesday, March 22nd, 2023. If everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. A roll call, please.
Tom Fath.
Present.
Joe Haney.
Present.
Mark Parkman. Randy Novak.
Present.
Michael Rosenbaum.
Present.
Scott Cooley.
Here.
Justin Keel.
Present.
Mr. President, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Next, we have approval of the agenda. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections that need to be made?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Is there anyone, members of the public here for public comment?
Nobody's running.
I see,
Somebody's waiting to get in on Zoom, but
yeah, I don't see anyone here for public comment. We'll let Zoom join in here.
maybe not. All right.
All right. Well, all right. So no public comment. All right. No public comment. We'll move on to communications. Is there any communications?
Communications for the month are the auditor's request for the treasurer's report. Herald Argus claims and allowances and legal notices were published for February. D&M pay request number 11. USI Engineering reviewing and signing off on D&M pay request number 11. Picked up POs from the mail from the for the president's signature at the auditor's office. Prepared the automated POs for March in the auditor's office. Worked with IT department on the Zoom credentials for the remainder of the year, which, by the way, they're the same credentials that I send you, even though the dates are not the same. So the meeting dates are different than the dates in the link with the email when I send it to you. And she said that's okay.
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 Thank you.
Worked with the deputy auditor to get the USI bank statements changed over to a different address. Worked with Merchants Bank to do the same thing for both of those are our bond bank statements. Called Barnes and Thornburg about the bot amendment resolution to get a copy of it and the understanding of the signatories. The county planner sent out a waste management email regarding their contribution to the 421 utility infrastructure project. Responded to Senator Dalton's 2022 annual report data request. Scott Fetzler from U.S. Bank contacted us and wanted to verify that with someone else other than myself about the change of address. USI Engineering Supplement number 1 is on your agenda tonight. Contacted JBC Rail about the bot amendment signatures, and they requested a redlined version of that amendment, which Phil Facinda provided today. That is the end of communications.
Thank you so much. Next, we have approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank
I'm
you.
abstaining because I wasn't present.
Noted. Thank you, sir. Next, treasurer's report.
The treasurer's report for March after your expenses this month. US 421 allocation area number 1. Balance is $189,649. US 421 allocation area 2 after you approve a resolution tonight to transfer the funds that are in this TIF to 421 allocation area 1, the balance will be 0. KIDC TIF $71,941. 39 North allocation area $74,179. End of report.
Thank you, Mary Jane. Appreciate it. All right, next we have claims. We're gonna
You want a motion on the financial?
do we need a motion to accept the financials?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the financials. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, next we're going to move on to claims. Claims here, after some conference with a few members of the board, if everybody's amenable, we're just going to do these by groups. So for the KIDC TIF, a total of $4,322.11. You want to approve these in a full batch or individually by TIF?
I'm not sure if we need to read them out loud, each one.
No, you can summarize them.
Okay.
If you want to do it by TIF, that's great.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second for the KIDC TIF. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, US 421 TIF number 1, subtotal here $4,317.75.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
And 39 North, a total of $1,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, our 421 project claim for D&M excavating, a total of $454,213.28.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Very good. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous again. Thank you. All right, next we move on to old business. Mr. Reardon, 421 I-94 TIF project update.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Redevelopment Commission. 42194 TIFs, as you saw that we're proceeding with the project, there's a couple of items that came up regarding this particular project. Seems that due to some environmental regulations that are part of what the sanitary district will have to adhere to, and in conjunction with the discussion with waste management, it's been determined that there would need to be or suggested to be some further treatment before the leachate could be treated at the plant. And Mitch and I were on a call with the group, had a discussion about that, and so where we stand is that the recommendation to the group is that the utility project stop short of the landfill at this time. That will produce a savings of an estimated $300,000 on the project. We'll maintain, we've already procured the easement for the project. Excuse me. Therefore, allowing waste management to connect at their expense when they're able to work through their issues with and come to an agreement with the Michigan City Sanitary District, quite honestly. And we think that's a pretty fair and equitable way to do this. We'll maintain open communications. If we hear anything different in the short term where Waste Management would like to contribute the $150,000. I would be back to the board to suggest that we would continue, but at this juncture, it was their opinion, they being Waste Management, that unless they're utilizing the system, they would not have an interest in financial participation at this time. We understand, we agree. Conversely, we'll stop the project short and allow them to access when they're ready to do so. We're under no legal, financial, or otherwise obligation to run this further. We've discussed this with the contractor, and we've had our construction supervision engineer review this and give us an estimate. So that's the update on the project. Mitch, is there anything I missed?
Yeah. The only thing I would add is it does stop. It would stop at the boundary of Waste Management and Love's property. So it's roughly going about half the distance as you get past the intersection of 300 North and 421. The original scope was to take it all the way to waste management. This basically cuts that in half. So it's about 1,200 feet it's going instead of 2,400.
Speaking of TIF District 421 and 94, and another item that's on the list is TIF capture. There was some discussion about some potential annexation by the city of Michigan City at the 421-94 TIF project, based on some discussion with representatives from the city and representations made about who gets what tax dollar wise and so on. I have a pretty good background in this kind of activity and talked with Sender and Company a little bit about it, and we conferred that there is a net financial impact, not so much to us but to the city. It would be, as it turns out, and we requested and received a legal opinion from Ice Miller, the bond counsel, on this matter, and basically any new revenue generated in the TIF district would stay with the County Redevelopment Commission until such time as the debt would be discharged. So the $4.4 million plus or minus would need to be paid off. And Michigan City was going forward up until last night to continue to annex the property. I participated on their council meeting. It's certainly not my purview. I don't work for Michigan City, but I did inform them of the tax implications of annexation, what occurs, and that you go from $3 at a cap of $3 when you're in the city, or you're at $1.70 per 100 of assessed value. So think of it this way: $10 million of assessed value, company X pays $300,000, or company X pays $173,000. Well, I think people could do math. Well, at least the developer could. The developer indicated at the meeting that they wanted or needed some assistance from the city as part of this. The city wouldn't have anything to assist them with unless the city wanted to spend local dollars that they generated through gaming or income tax money, other money than TIF development. They could not create a TIF district and thus couldn't generate any money with that. So I contacted the developer after the meeting and let him know, you saw the math, you heard the math. It's a county TIF district. We're interested in the project, so we're going to continue negotiating with them. I suggested to one of the councilmen in Michigan City that, if Michigan City wants to annex property, perhaps they look at larger parcels of property than one-off parcels adjacent to the municipality, and that they perhaps think about extending on US 20 all the way to Porter County, or US 20 extending all the way to the state line, as opportunities for Michigan City to grow. There was a suggestion made that the city was boxed in, and I politely let the councilman know that no, the district's been in place for 15 years. So nothing new here under the sun. Long and short of it is, I think there is a methodology to do projects. It's called cooperation. I think this could have been mitigated early on with the discussion about the actual impacts of tax and the the requested assistance from the developer, quite honestly. And that's where I'll leave it at that. So there's to be no annexation into the TIF. I think they understand now, and I'm happy to share our opinion letter with their attorney, so that perhaps if they're going to entertain this again, they might pick a parcel that is outside of a county TIF that doesn't have debt. Did I cover everything, Guy?
You did.
Thank you.
It's just a phone call is all they needed to do.
That helps too.
Thank you, Matt. We appreciate your assistance with that. I had
Sure.
time on the phone with them yesterday as well, trying to explain that prior to going into the meeting, what
Yeah.
exactly was in place and has been in place. And
Yeah, nothing new.
Yeah.
Nothing new was going on here. So,
thank you. All right. Nothing there. KIP? Do you need, before we move on, do you need any kind of decision from the RDC here in regards to 421 and stopping that at the Love's waste management property line versus moving it forward, or is that just?
I defer to Guy. I don't think we'll need this. This is like it's like a change order situation.
Okay.
You know, some of them work in our favor, some of them work against you. Most of them work against you. This one works in our favor. Well, we saw this occur with the stoppage of extending a line to the gas station when they went from we're going to give you 70,000 to you give us 70,000 for doing it, and we just stopped it. So same situation, right? Right, Mitch?
Yeah, I guess the only thing I would add is there is a possible issue regarding the 421 project, and I sent an email out, I think, last week. It's regarding relocating the electric poles, NIPSCO. So AT&T's on those poles as well. They have to be relocated because AT&T is in the way of the sewer line. So we're working with NIPSCO right now, and you probably saw from the email, we're trying to include NIPSCO in Love's easement. Right now it's just solely the sewer and water mains. So we're trying to update those and amend those. And if we get those in the easement that's already been recorded, then we could take off about 3 months, because if NIPSCO has to re-engineer it, it's going to take additional 3 months of time to do this project. So the idea is I'm going to work with the individual. Well, actually, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Matt and I are going to amend that, then send it to the attorney, and hopefully get that taken care of within the next couple of weeks. So they're laying down their poles next week, and they're going to try to commence work on those and relocating those poles in 2 weeks. And once they start, that's going to be a 6-week process. So we don't want to wait 3 months to re-engineer everything and then another 6 weeks, because the end date of the project will have to be moved another 4 months probably.
Yeah, we don't
want that. So that's just another update.
There's no engineering reason why they couldn't be included in the easement either, so we check that as well. So we'll just amend the language to allow for them to utilize the easement, and we should be fine, and NIPSCO can proceed, and we won't have to prolong the project any further. But we'll make sure that Guy gets eyes on it, and that the county's interests are covered.
It is just one easement too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ready for KIP?
Yes. Kingsbury Industrial Park update. I will be at the council. I just needed to give them an update where we're at with CSX and their contracting. It's not finalized yet, so I'm going to hold off for a month and wait. I'll give the council an update where we're at, but I'm going to have the CSX contract in hand and make sure that Guy has an opportunity to review it. It would be with us as the grantor and CSX, so they'll spell out their procedures, work rules, and et cetera. I just feel better having that and having it reviewed before there's a promise made to allocate any resources for it. So theoretically, we get this done. I update the council, and then at the April meeting, there would be the formal request, and then, from what CSX indicated, they can get this done pretty quickly. Now, I don't know what that means in railroad speak, but it could. I don't know. I guess I'll try and finalize that. The other item on there, I have SSI, Strategic Sites Initiative. So Kingsbury Industrial Park is one of a handful of sites in the state of Indiana's database of specific strategic sites, SSI, right? Because of its size and because of the availability of utilities, water and sanitary, and its access to rail, it was identified as one of the sites. One of the outfalls of their study, paid for by NIPSCO, was that we identify or perhaps do phase 1 environmental assessment. Now, Paul and I talked about it, and, it's nice to have that information. But the validity of the information stops the minute somebody actually tries to buy property. They're going to do their own. I would request from this board that at minimum I can get some bids for phase 1 for the 800 and some acres that have been identified. And I don't know what it would cost. I mean, phase 1, our record search, I think we know what's out there, but I think, if the state's asking, we want you to have that information, then we should have the information. And Paul, did I miss anything on that?
No, you're right on target.
Okay. So I just asked permission to go out and get some bids, and I'll be back at the next meeting for phase 1 for Kingsbury. We'll get right of entry from all the property owners, of course, as part of it, but they'll be out there doing some research.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve Mr. Reardon going out for these bids. Any discussion?
And you didn't have a rough estimate of what the cost would be for that?
You know what? I don't know. I mean, I've never done a phase one on 800 acres. I've done a phase one on 100 acres. You know, I don't know. I mean, is it 5,000? It's not 50,000. I know that. So it's, I'm trying to gauge what it is. It's probably somewhere around, I don't know, 5 or 6 or something like that. I'm guessing. I mean, it's like $2,000.
Don't guess, Mr. Reardon. Let's get the,
Should I keep
let's get the
guessing?
bids.
Well, if you're listening out there, it might be 2,000. Saying, if you happen to be listening. So no, we'll go out and I'll get some bids from some industrial engineering folks that do that, and get you some numbers. While I'm on the KIP,
Before we move on, we had a motion on the floor.
oh, sorry.
No, that's all right. Any further discussion on this? All right, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Okay. One other item on Kingsbury, the contract to Jim Carroll was sent back to him. They wanted to see the red line version of the original, which is fine. They should go through that and sign it. So between now and then, because the commissioners have authorized us to proceed, the grant money is there, so we'll begin the drawdown process. So there's a small mountain of paperwork required from that, but we have all that information and are able to, once they would submit, obviously the contract and then the reimbursement requirements. So it'll work a lot like the IEDC grant. That'll be kind of the same situation. So I think between now and then, no, I don't think. Between now and then, I'll likely have to establish a separate account for the ready as opposed to just parking it into the previously created IEDC construction account. But from a contractual standpoint, we're good. Mr. Carroll's been informed of being, kind of a notice to proceed, so he's got the contract. So at some point here, I don't know what your pleasure is. Would you rather have a ribbon cutting or a groundbreaking? You pick one. I think it's kind of cool that we're actually getting to fixing that railroad bridge. 10 years ago, that was not on the list of things I thought would ever happen in this county, or that would ever be activated. So,
How about a gold spike?
gold spike moment.
Yeah. No, I'm just
Bring
kidding.
the two together.
Yeah.
I don't know. I gotta have to get that inspected before anybody's swinging a hammer out there. Just kidding. That'd be a good idea. Golden spike moment.
With the 8-pound hammer?
Exactly. So that's exciting. That's it.
All right, very good. Except 39 North.
39 North, no update. I know that the city is continuing its analysis of annexation and what the financial impacts might mean. Unlike 421 and 94, the county does not have any debt in the district. So if the city of LaPorte wanted to annex, they could do that, and they could collect tax revenue if they wanted to. Like perhaps if the city of Michigan City or city of LaPorte wanted to partner with the county, they could also do that. And we have an interesting opportunity here with one of the contractors who can probably pipeline that information over to LaPorte pretty quick. So they're made aware of that. So we don't have any financial stake, but the circumstances haven't changed. There needs to be a water tower built. So it's always been the position of the Redevelopment Commission that we're in it for building the water tower. We're not too concerned who does it, and if we can TIF it and help pay for it, that's always been the position. I don't think that's changed one bit in the process.
If they do move forward with annexation, is there any reason for the county to continue to have a TIF district in that area?
No.
Not really.
No, I mean, the purpose of the district was to be able to finance utility expansion and growth. So there really would not be a need to do it, as long as no, there really wouldn't be. I mean, the idea is build a water tower, right? So, somebody planned to build a water tower, we don't have to participate.
Is there proposed annexation our entire TIF? I know they're taking more than the TIF, but I mean, does it go out as far as?
Not all of it, but I haven't seen a comprehensive map. And it's all pretty much going to be voluntary anyway. So again, like as long as it has no financial impact on what this group is doing, How about it? I think the idea is to get water and sewer and adequate utilities to a location so you can facilitate development. And, I don't think that anything has changed at 39 since the time we created the TIF district from that thought process. Bring utilities in, bring more utilities in, have flexibility to do delivery with redevelopment activities, opposed to directly having to go through a county council situation, just more flexibility on financing. So,
Has the city reached out to you about their annexation vision and how it relates to the TIF?
no, they haven't brought up that. I mean, we haven't talked about the, who would pay for what scenario, but I mean, what you suggested is exactly what would happen. And be like, well, okay, then you do it. Kind of one of the situations. That's, when you annex property, you're going to provide sewer and water and other services. So in your annexation plan, you would do that. We're also not talking about, one-off parcel here. We're talking about a territory. So, that seems to be between the county and 39 North to determine their best course of action out there.
And the unique thing about this is 39 North Conservatory is the one that put in all the infrastructure.
Yes.
Like we did on 400 in Michigan City.
Correct.
So they're the ones that are having discussions, should have discussions with the city.
Correct. Right.
More-
we don't
more
have
discussions.
Yeah, we're not in the middle. We're not in the middle of this one. Yeah, it's not us. It's not us this time. So I assume that'll sort itself out, and the goal is to get the water tower up and make it more marketable.
I just want to make sure it's clear that right now we have nothing in the pipeline on a water tower there. We've made every attempt. It failed on the last level of grants, and that we were still circling around to put a little pressure on government above us to see that they're not putting any money in our area, and maybe they should rethink that. But other than that, there's nothing else going on at this point in time.
Now, I'll defer to Mary Jane, the grant writer. She's tried many times, not had a lot of luck. Not that these haven't been quality grants. I mean, it's vacant property next to a highway that actually has a rail spur. I don't know, what they think in Washington, what a vacant business park looks like, but they all start out looking like that. So I know that 39 North is continuing to try to find revenue, and but again, this is a situation. This is the entity that allocated resources to put in the utilities, and the city doing something else. So it's those two entities that will interact and go forward. But we're still there in the meantime. If anybody has an idea and a TIF, and we have had discussions with companies. Most recently, it sounds cliche, but up to today, about the 100 acres right off of 90 and what to do with that. So there may be an opportunity in the works where the Redevelopment Commission may take a more active role, but it's not baked yet. So keep that in the back burner.
Thank you. Next, 3590.
Thank you. And one last thing, Mr. Chairman, HWC is finalizing the route analysis, working cooperatively with Michigan City Water and Sanitary, so we understand where it's going to go to. I think that's the logical break in the work effort there. I think that maybe depending on how the city would like to continue, right? Like maybe an opportunity to annex all of it and spend the money to put in the utilities, that would free up $1.5 million of ARP funds back to the county. If the city wants to annex meaningful tranches of property that are at their gateway and to control it, this would be a great opportunity to start doing that. But for now, cooperation is occurring with the utilities and the professional service firm to identify the most advantageous route to have the most opportunity for more customers and to do the development, which is still there. I think they're going to be waiting around till maybe sometime in December to maybe come back and have a discussion about that in a meaningful way. But I think that's where we stand at 35 and 94 right now.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any questions about any of that? Anyone? Good? Okay.
All right. Mr. Sender, got a annual report for us here tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the Redevelopment Commission. I've handed out earlier and also emailed last night this report. Page 2, the Indiana statute does, probably for about 10 years now, requires redevelopment commissions annually submit annual report that contains some of the financial information, as well as a listing of all the parcels that are the tax increments being captured. And so on page 2, just kind of lists kind of specifically what we're trying to do. And then we also summarize some of the cash balances, revenue and expenditures, and outstanding obligations. Page 3 is just the board members here for this year. Page 4 is the distribution of tax increment, our revenue for 2022 for the 4 different allocation areas was $615,128.14. Page 5 then is our outstanding debt. If you'll recall that in the spring of 2022, we issued $4,251,000 of tax increment revenue and refunding bonds, primarily so we could move ahead with the 300 North water and sewer project. And we also refinanced some outstanding bonds that were secured by 421 number 2. So we have this one bond issue, and page 6 and 7 just show the amounts that the county major moves fund had loaned to the redevelopment commission for certain improvements. We had $6 million is still outstanding for the Kingsbury Industrial Park, and $1,495,000 is owed to the major moves construction fund for projects done at County Road 400 North and County Road 950 West.
What is the repayment schedule for those two?
So I think a number of years ago there were resolutions adopted that said once the increment reached a certain level, any excess was going to be paid back to those funds. And at this point, we have not exceeded those levels. And so I'm not sure, how long that's going to take, but right now there is not a repayment schedule.
Okay, thank you.
Can I interject?
Yes.
The other thing is the county, in lieu of the $6 million investment, took possession of all the rail out of KIP. So we foreclosed on that in lieu of the payment. I'm not saying the debt is gone, but that was the repayment that we got so far as of now.
Yep.
All the rail was turned over to us, but the easements.
Yep.
So.
Okay, yep. Page 8 then is a summary of the commission fund balances for 2022, beginning with the beginning year balances, revenues, disbursements, and end of the year balances. Mary Jane provided us with these summaries, so these should match pretty much to her reports that she gave you for the end of the year, December. 9 and 10 is just a quick summary of the resolutions that you passed last year, mainly to we had to issue the bonds. We had several resolutions there, along with a resolution authorizing and approving the I-94 US 35 economic development area, as well as an allocation area. Then we've tacked on to this report is another requirement that we have what's called an overlapping units report. And page 12 kind of outlines what this unit is what this portion of the report is to do. We're to kind of give a summary of our budget with respect to allocation TIF, the areas with TIF, and what is our long-term plans, tax impact of each of the taxing units. So, each of these 4 allocation areas have different terms in which they expire. I believe the bonds that were issued for I-94 421 area number 1 go through January 15th of 2040. So that goes, and while those bonds are outstanding, the TIF is going to be in existence so we can repay the principal and interest. Page 14 is a summary of your budget for 2023. I believe the commission has previously seen this budget. I wasn't going to go through detail, but it's a summary budget Parts of the budget also anticipate using some of our fund balance that we ended the year with, as well as tax increment that we are anticipating collecting in 2023. Any questions on the budget for each of the areas? And we really won't anticipate any tax increment on I-94 US 35 in 2023 since we created it in 2022. The base is January 1 of 22, and so there is no increment to be collected. And now come January 1 of 23 for taxes payable in 24, there could be some increment if there's any new development, but probably right now there's not really anything to speak of. And then pages 15 through 24 is the tax impact. Each of the 4 allocation areas, there's sometimes multiple taxing units where we overlap in between different townships. So for each area, we did what I would say we took the impact of what the captured assessment is presently as for 22, divided by the total net assessed value to come up with a percentage and then apply that to the current tax rate. It's kind of a misnomer because in cases where redevelopment commissions create these allocation areas, you generate activity and economic benefit, and so there's what we call the but-for test. If it wasn't for these, you may not have as much of the growth here. But since the statute requires that we show the impact, that's what it's done here on pages 15 through 24. The second page of each of the, for each of the areas, it has the impact of the cumulative funds. So in theory, those are actual tax revenues lost, but again, the but-for test, if you didn't have the TIF here, you may not collect as much of these revenues. So, and then to conclude then is a listing of all the parcels in each of the allocation areas. That's on pages 25 through 32. We did not show all the parcels for the new I-94 US 35 because there is no actual growth here. So we will, pending if you approve this report tonight, we plan to upload certain sections of the report onto the Department of Local Government Finance's Gateway website that they require all redevelopment commission members to upload.
A question on the page 15, for example, where it shows the adjusted tax rate if the TIF didn't exist.
Right.
If the TIF ceases to exist, is that essentially what the tax rate would be?
Yes. Could potentially reduce by, let's say, in the 39 North, 14 cents. Okay.
Yep.
And so that's kind of what we're showing. And that's what I believe the statute requiring us just to publicly disclose.
Thank you.
Yep.
Motion to approve the report.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the report. Any discussion further? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Very good.
All right. Thank you. The next item is a consideration resolution 2023-002. This is what we call the TIF capture resolution for 2024. And so we're basically saying because of the amount of projects that you have currently on there, as well as the debt outstanding of the 22 bonds and the other loans to the county's major moves, the commission's going to need to capture all of its increment in 2024. And you're probably wondering, why are we doing this now? Well, the statute requires that we notify the county auditor of, is there any potential to release any of the assessed value to the overlapping units? And this resolution says, no, we're going to need it for paying debt and other purposes of the Redevelopment Commission. So that's what the resolution has before you. We just need to notify them by June, and we just thought, while we're doing the annual report, let's just get it done now.
Motion to approve or move this resolution forward? Or do we have to
wanna
read
read the
something
document?
more?
Motion to read by title.
Motion to read by title only, please.
Second.
The motion and second to read by title only. All those in favor? Aye. Very good. Please proceed. I'll read it, that's fine. All right, so, oh, thank you.
Sorry. Resolution authorizing the LaPorte County Auditor to transfer funds. I need the other one. I need,
Nope, that's not the one, I don't believe.
it's not the one, hold on.
What's the,
No, it's, I had to
Number
change
two.
the
Is it red-
numbers. Okay, I have it
Yeah,
now. Here we
okay.
go. Resolution of the LaPorte County Redevelopment Commission concerning the 2024 budget year determination for tax increment for the LaPorte County Redevelopment Commission allocation areas.
Thank you.
now the motion to approve the resolution?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution as read by title only. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Very good. Next, we have another resolution. We're going to consider the transfer of funds from 421 to TIF to AA1.
Motion approved by title only.
Motion to read by title only?
Read, motion, yeah, I'm sorry. Read by title only.
Second.
A motion and a second to read by title only. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Very good.
Resolution authorizing the LaPorte County Auditor to transfer Redevelopment Commission I-94-421 allocation area 2 TIF fund balance to I-94-421 allocation area 1 TIF fund. What this is going to do is right now you have $96,000 sitting in the allocation area 2 fund. The entire bond payment for January was taken out of the allocation area 1. That left you and will leave you a deficit to make your other commitment payments. This fund, and I think Carl will verify that, it was always intended for this to be transferred to allocation area number 1.
Very good. Thank you.
Motion to approve?
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the transfer as read by title only. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I haven't been calling any nays tonight because I've heard each of you say aye every single time. So if there's, if I miss anything, please let me know on that. All right, very good. Next we have the consideration of USI Engineering Supplemental Agreement number 1.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you are aware, we've had quite a few delays in the design of 421 and 94. There's also been some errors and omissions that have been identified as part of the project. The folks at USI gave us an aggressive proposal to do construction supervision on the project. So just as typically, LPA projects or state projects, the construction supervision typically falls somewhere between the range of 5 to 10% of the construction cost. So 4.4 million. The original contract was 125,000. They've done a good job. They're asking for an increase of 25,000 to take it through the end of the project. I'd recommend that you go ahead and approve this, and we'll be able to close the project out with USI. Mitch, do you have anything you want to add?
No.
Thanks. Mitch?
Motion to approve.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve allowing USI this to finish out with the supplemental agreement number 1. Any discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it, how much longer has this been time-wise? I just don't recall anymore. It's more than 6 months at this point, isn't it?
Yeah, there was an extension that.
Yeah, we gave an extension at one point.
Yeah.
I think we're, even with the extension, counting the extension, more than 6 months out there, so.
Yeah, originally I think they were supposed to be completed November.
It's passed.
It's passed.
So
yeah.
we're going almost a year.
Well, no, they should be done. Well, if we can move these NIPSCO poles, that's another potential delay. And if that does delay, we're looking at another 3-4 months, and then we have to get another extension. But yeah, we'll get it done. We'll get it done
right
before.
now.
We'll get it done before November. How's that?
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, very good. Any other business before us this evening?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Hey.